Want to give a shout out to all of my patrons. Thank you so much for all of the continued support. Hey everybody, so it is the last day of the month, and that means it is time for my June recap video. In this video, I'm going to be giving a little life update. I'm going to talk about my channel updates, go over my channel and reading stats, and give a recap of the books I read. And finally, I'm going to go over the books that I was sent over the past month. So, in terms of what's going on in my life, nothing much new. This month has been a rather busy one for me. My kids turned 5 and 7 this month. So there's been a lot of present buying, a lot of party planning. Both of their parties were at my house, which included a lot of cleaning and just everything involved with trying to make the kids have a really awesome, memorable birthday. There's been general merriment around the house, and it's just been really fun. The kids are doing swim lessons right now, so every day after work I am doing swim lessons, which finally ends today. So I'm currently prepping for 3 trips that I'm going to be taking in July. I'm going to this little ocean town called Bodega Bay with my family and my parents. Then I'm going to be going camping with my daughter and my dad for a couple days. And that's going to be my daughter's first camping trip, so I'm really excited about that. And then the day after I get back from that camping trip, I'm going to Disneyland with my wife and kids for a few days. So a lot of fun stuff going on in July, and I am looking forward to it. The Discord channel continues to absolutely explode. It was by far the biggest month that the Discord's had, and it's had a lot of big months. It gained over 400 people this month, from 971 to last time I checked at 1372. So really crazy growth, and I don't expect that will continue, but it's been really steady. You should join. Click the link in the description down below, and it is the best place to talk about adult fantasy books. It is always active, it's a great time, and if you're just watching these videos, you're missing out on half of the fun by not being involved in this hop-in Discord channel. So right now in the Discord, we are in the middle of a buddy read. If you don't know what that is, think of like an online book club. And we're doing The Lies of Locke Lamora. It's a little late to get into it because we're in the second half of the book now. And coming up this month, we are going to be doing another book, but I'm going to announce that one tomorrow in my TBR video. This month on the Discord channel, we added 2 of my favorite booktubers to the Discord who share the space with me. That is Shelf-Centered and Andrew Watson. Check the description down below for links with their channels and how you can add them. I'm going through and kind of inviting my favorite booktubers that don't have their own Discord channels to come and join mine and have a section of my Discord devoted to them. And I'm really excited at how that's been going along. And I hope to add a couple more in the future. I don't want to get it too big, but I have a couple more that I'm trying to convince to join up, and I'm not gonna let go. So this month I've been playing a large number of different video games. I played this little indie game Hunt Down, played some Fall Guys, spent a lot of time playing Mountain Blade Bannerlord, which I just love that game. It's one of my all-time favorites, just obsessed with it. Played Mario and Sonic at the Olympics with my son, N++, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1, and finally Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And before we go into the reading stats, I want to talk to you a little bit about Novello. This is an exciting new publishing and reading platform. The goal of Novello is to make a one-stop shop for all things writing and storytelling. Novello offers an intuitive, user-friendly way for writers to create and share their awesome work for readers to enjoy, all while maintaining total control over their stories. Everything from content to pricing is all controlled by that story's author. So whether you're looking to release your story for free or finally make some bucks off that masterpiece you've been working on for the last decade, Novello is what you're looking for. With future plans to include support for comics and a marketplace for users to sell other writing-related services, the future of this platform is looking bright. And the best part, it's all available for free. No sign-up fees, no membership, just a growing library of epic tales. So, enjoy the epic adventure of Blackwater by an award-winning author, or grab the popcorn and enjoy a terrifying battle for survival in Limbo: The Door Above the Lake. Whether you're a casual reader or a professional writer, Novello is the place for you. Now let's go into the reading stats for this month. I read 9 books, which was about 4,400 pages. This is down a little bit from last month. It's down 400. I'm now up to 56 books this year, and I'm on track for 106. So my goal is 100, and I look like I'm definitely going to get to that point. So far this year, I've read a little over 29,000 pages, and I'm on track for 59,000. My stated goal is 50,000, but I'd really like to get to 60,000. Don't know if I'm going to be able to get there, but I'm going to try my best. The average score of the books that I've rated this year is 3.63, and this is up. It's up 0.07 from last month, so that's trending up in the right direction. The channel got 111,000 views this last month, which is up 7,000 from last month. And I should be at lifetime 1 million views sometime in the next couple weeks, so very excited about that. 12,000 hours were watched of the channel. This is down 1,000 from last month. And this past month, I got 770 subscriptions, and this is down about 230 from last month. The number one video this month was the top 10 completed fantasy series, which got about 9,000 views. The number 2 most viewed video was my favorite fantasy series of all time, according to 50 plus booktubers, which got about 7,300 views. This video actually came back out in March, but it keeps getting views for some reason, and it just doesn't seem to be stopping. It just kind of gets a consistent amount of views every day, so that's cool. And then number 3 was my favorite fantasy book of all time, according to my viewers. Not mine, but favorite fantasy book of all time, according to my viewers. And that came out this week and has 5,600 views. And I had a blast putting that together and seeing all of your beautiful faces explain what your favorite books are. The review that got the most views this month was my 2-star review of Cradle Waybound, which got 5,300 views. So now let's go over to the book recaps. The first book that I read this month was The Howling Dark. This is book 2 of The Sun Eater by Christopher Ruocchio. I predicted that I'd give it a 5 out of 5, and I did give it a 5 out of 5. This book gets the award for the best book that I read this month. I predicted that I'd finish it on June 6th, and I finished it on June 11th. And this book is just awesome. It somehow elevated itself from the first book, and Empire of Silence. And I thoroughly adore that first book. But this book just hit different. I mean, it was emotionally complex. I mean, I found myself very, very openly crying at one point for a reason that I've never cried in a book before. So that was pretty cool. And it just in general, it was an amazing experience. And I'm walking away from this book feeling like Christopher Ruocchio is something special. And I hope so dearly that he gets the recognition that he very much clearly deserves, because his writing quality is really just like second to none. It's incredible. Then after that, I did a reread of The Blade itself. This is book 1 of The First Law by Joe Abercrombie. The first time I read it, I gave it a 4 out of 5, but I predicted that I'd give this one a 5 out of 5 after kind of resonating with it for a long time. And I did end up giving it a 5 out of 5. I predicted that I'd finish it on June 7th, and I finished it a little bit early on June 5th. And, why did I like this book more this time than the first time? I do find that I end up liking rereads more, but I think the bigger reason is the first time I read it, I complained about the plot being a little slow. It is slow, and it was slow this time, like a glacier at times. The plot doesn't really move a lot. This is a character book. It's setting the stage for the events to come. But I'm so in love with these characters, not just because of this book, but because of all the other books, that as I go back, it just felt like I was at home again. And I didn't have to do any of that learning who these people are. I got straight in and just could see their stories from the beginning. And it was just a super enjoyable experience, especially because I listened to it in an audiobook. And I've said for a long time that I find that Stephen Capacey is the best fantasy audiobook narrator for his work that he's done in the First Law series. And it blew me away. It was one of the first audiobooks that I listened to. And that set the standard for me. And nothing's ever gotten to that point again. And so having listened to so much audiobook since then, I come to appreciate it that much more for how great it is. Then I read Waybound. This is the final book, I think book 12 in the Cradle series by Will White. I predicted that I'd give it a 3 out of 5, and I actually give it a 2 out of 5. This book gets the award for the worst book that I read this month. I predicted that I'd finish it on June 11th, and I finished it way early on June 7th. And I predicted low because I didn't really like that much the second to last book here. I think it's Dread God. And then I lost my confidence that this series was going to be concluded in the way that I wanted it to conclude. Not so much in the story, but just the way that it was being rushed, I felt like. And it did that and then some. I find that this is a very minority position. Almost everybody that I've heard from loves it, but I didn't like it. And it did so many negative things for me, like the tension. Even though these big events were happening, it felt like there was no more tension because the characters were too overpowered. I get that they have to be at this point in the story, but I just feel like it could have been written in a way that still kept that tension. Other progression fantasy books have done that, but this one just didn't do it for me. But I still look fondly upon this series, and I may reread it someday, and maybe I'll feel differently when I do that reread. But and I still recommend this series to people. I just feel like it didn't end very good. Then I read Dungeon Crawler Carl. This is book 1 in Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. I predicted that I'd give it a 5 out of 5, and I did give it a 5 out of 5. I also predicted that I'd finish it on June 16th, and I finished it early on June 12th. And this book just blew me away. I shouldn't say it blew me away because I kind of thought it would, because I predicted a 5 out of 5. Something about the premise just hooked me from the beginning. It's about this guy who finds himself essentially forced to go through a series of dungeons, very video game style, to save his life. And he's going through fighting monsters, trying to survive while millions of other people on Earth are trying to do the same thing. And he's trying to be the sole survivor. And it's this crazy, messed up scenario that is very dark. People are dying left and right. It's very violent and a very dark book. But it's also very funny. And it balances this humor with the dark fantasy that is done in such an amazing blend. You know, it's like that sweet and sour, you know, where it blends so nicely, and it's way better for that combination than it would have been on its own. And I just can't wait to keep reading in this. And like The First Law, this audiobook narrator is incredible, and I couldn't imagine consuming this content in any other way besides audiobook because of how good it is. Then I read Hyperion. I think that's how you say it. Hyperion. This is book 1 of the Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons. I predicted I'd give it a 5 out of 5 because this is a classic in sci-fi, and I gave it a 3 out of 5, which gets the award for the worst surprise of the month. I predicted I'd finish it on June 16th, and similar to all the other books, I finished this early, this one on June 14th. And this has just never worked out for me. I never really thoroughly enjoyed my experience in this one. And why would I? You know, what this book is, it's a sci-fi, mystery, horror, short story collection. None of those things are my jam. So to combine them all into one book, it just didn't work for me. It was written magnificently in terms of a writing quality perspective. I mean, Dan Simmons is a very talented guy, but it just didn't resonate with me like it should have. And that's a me thing. And I get why other people love this. I super get it. And I can't always say that for books that I end up not liking, but I can definitely say it here. But yeah, just didn't quite hit right with me. But I think I'll end up reading the next one because, you know, I feel like it's going to do some of the things right that I didn't enjoy from the first one, but we'll see. But if I don't like that one, then I'm out. Then I read my Patreon pick in terms of like the spin wheel thing that I do, and that was book 1 of the Founders trilogy called Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. I previously read a Robert Jackson Bennett book, City of Stairs, and I didn't really like it. But I ended up predicting that I'd give this one a 4 out of 5, and I did end up giving it a 4 out of 5. I predicted I'd finish it on June 21st, and again, 2 days early, on June 19th is when I ended up finishing it. And this was fun. Very fun. It was a very Brandon Sanderson-esque, a very inventive magic system. Everything kind of comes together in the end for a big plot. It's got some really fun reveals. It's just fun. And I like it. And I don't know why more people aren't talking about this. I think it was one of those things where, you know, when I looked it up, a lot of people reviewed this book when it first came out. So it looked like it was popular when it came out, but it very quickly kind of got off people's radar. And I don't know why, because I liked it. And I feel like if you're a Sanderson fan and like a big Sanderson fan, I think you're going to like this one too. And I happen to be a big Sanderson fan, so I liked it. Then I read The Fall. This is a novella in the Bound and the Broken series by Ryan Cahill. I predicted I'd give it a 3 out of 5 because I don't really like shorter stories, but I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. I predicted I'd finish it on June 22nd, and I finished it on June 20th. And yeah, I don't know what really to say about such a short book. This is a little novella. It's action-packed from the beginning to the end. It shows a pretty cool background to a story that you kind of heard about in the first book. And yeah, it was fun. It's making me excited to keep going in the series and get to the second novel in this series. Then I recently finished up reading Gods of the Weirdwood. This is book 1 of the Forsaken trilogy by R.J. Barker. It just came out a couple days ago. I predicted I'd give it a 4 out of 5, and I gave it a 5 out of 5. And this gets my award for the best surprise of the month. I predicted I'd finish it on June 26, and I nailed this one. I got it finished on June 26. And Gods of the Weirdwood is a weird book. It is odd, and it's hard to get into, because all these different names are foreign and weird, and you just get thrown into it, kind of like Malazan. And the author trusts you that you're going to figure it out. He trusts you that he doesn't have to info dump for you to figure out what's going on. And that trust was a little misplaced at the beginning because I really didn't know what was going on. But once it clicked, it was rocking, and I loved it. And the pace kind of picks up throughout the book, even though it does kind of set the stage here. But I've never read a book like this before. And it's got this really cool, like, into the woodsy sort of like, weird religion aspect where all these religions are fighting against each other and elevating their own people to be in charge of the religions. And once one person gets elevated, they try to kill all the other ones, and it's really fun. And yeah, I just really like R.J. Barker, and this continues on with my theory that he's an incredible writer. Then the final book that I read this month was Jade Shards. This is a short story collection in the Greenbone Saga series by Fonda Lee. I think it came out yesterday or the day before. No, it comes out in a day or two. I got that wrong. I predicted that I'd give it a 3 out of 5, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I also predicted that I'd finish it on June 27th, and again, I nailed it. I got it on June 27th. And yeah, I mean, it had a couple short stories that were good, had a couple that I didn't really like, and one that was okay. And no, 2 that I really liked, 1 that I really did not like, and 1 that was okay. There's 4 short stories. And they're all stories that didn't really need to be told, but they're fun. And if you're really into the Greenbone Saga, I suspect that you're going to like this one as well. If you can get your hands on it, it's expensive. I mean, it's a short story collection. It only came out in this kind of more special edition format. I think it's like $45 for 80 pages, which is kind of crazy. So check it out on ebook if you can get your hands on it. I don't even know if it's an ebook. I got an ebook because I got an arc of it, but I don't know that you can get it in that format. So we'll see. But yeah, big Greenbone Saga fans are going to check this one out. So let us finish this up by going over all the books that got sent to me this month. Starting with a book by Martha Wells, the author of Murderbot. I got sent this by the publisher, and this is called City of Bones. And let's read a bit of the back cover here for you. The city of Cherasat, a tiered monolith of the ancients' design, sits on the edge of the vast desert known as the Waste. Kat, a member of the humanoid race created by the ancients to survive in the Waste, and Sagai, his human partner, are relic dealers working in the bottom tiers of society, trying to stay one step ahead of the trade inspectors. Yeah, looks fun, and I think I'm going to read this one. So I don't normally say that about books that are sent to me, but I have a love-hate relationship with Martha Wells, and I want to revive that relationship a little bit, so I'm going to probably give this one a shot. Next up is The Forsaken Planet. This is by Brian Wilson. Is that? Yeah, Brian Wilson. Like the Giants pitcher and the Beach Boy? Is that also Beach Boy's name? And let's read some of this back cover. When mysterious aircraft wreak havoc across Earth's skies, it is revealed that they are clusters of other planets where humankind resides, distant worlds where the people wield the power of the stars themselves. It is an energy force that can bring about miracles, or, as the alien fleet's ruthless leader displays, unleash horrors beyond imagination. Next up is a hardcover. It is called Linden Falls. This is by Joshua Hershey. Mabel is a rumored witch whose kingdom belongs to Lavian, the serpent. Her people are enslaved in darkness, but everything changes when Mabel discovers a book that transports her to a world of angels and demons. There, she wields swords of fire and faces Tannen, a spirit-infested dragon. Another hardbound book, this one by Jordan Reed, and it is The Wizard's Brew. I recently did a giveaway of this book on the channel. The author was very kind enough to allow that, and yeah, pretty cool stuff. This doesn't really have a back cover. It just says, danger lurks around every corner and in every bottle. Is there a cover here somewhere that I can read? All right, inside the front cover. Ghoul War veteran Zane Vrexen is struggling to make ends meet as a private detective when he gets a cryptic note from an old friend, Dennis, who says his new wife is in danger. Then Dennis turns up dead in his own potion shop, and his widow, Vanna, is the main suspect. Zane has enough problems, including an addiction to healing elixir and a voice in his head with nothing but bad ideas. But he agrees to investigate with help from Dennis's gnome assistant and a professor working for the Institute. But as they dig into the man's mysterious death, Zane and company find that Dennis had ties to the goblin mob, and Vanna is being hunted by a being thought either mythical or long extinct. And now they're in the crosshairs with her. Then I got two books in the same series, 𝐒𝐮𝐲𝐻𝑒𝐴𝑡𝑖𝑐S and 𝐒𝐮𝐴𝑡𝑖𝑐S Aftermath by Robert B. Marks. For over a century, fictional characters have been falling out of their stories into our world. Some, like mech pilot Atria Silversword and Isekai protagonist Daka Yamamoto, want to go home. Some, like JRPG non-player character Princess Stellaria, want a new life. Some, like superhero Captain Infinite and Devil King the Destroyer, want to meet their creators. Some, like Monster Hunter Jenny Callan and Super Assassin Jack Death, just want justice for their suffering. And one will fight a bloody war to liberate them all. Sounds kind of cool, actually. I like that kind of stuff. Two more. The Elementals. This is gets the award for the coolest cover, and this is by Abby Lattanzio. Eastport, a place of former peace, has rapidly turned its back on natural power wielders known as elementals. Under the rule of domineering magistrate Rufus, elementals are subject to a fate of imprisonment, death, and forced exposure to a mysterious substance known as esker. While the future continues to look grim for elementals, the ocean tides seem to have other plans. Four brothers, united by royal blood and a shared goal of restoring the kingdom, must find a way to work together before it is too late. And finally, we have Salt in the Wound. This is by Benjamin Averin. And is this another inside cover deal? No, it's just really short. Our world is lost to time. Only our myths remain. Once rain was a symbol of hope and harvest. Now it brings only death. Humanity survives in sheltered cities and canvas-covered towns. Travel between these patches of limited safety is rare and dangerous. It's what Galahad lives for. All right. That is it for me. Join me tomorrow when I go over my TBR video, which is super exciting because you can join in the contest to see if you can guess correctly and get first place and get the award. And if you win twice or get first, second, or third twice, you get to pick a book for me to read and review. So check that video out, join in on the contest, and I hope you win. So that's it for me. Thank you as always, and happy reading to you. Thanks again to all my patrons, with a special shout out to my Ascendant tier and Librarian tier patrons: Anna G, Brian, CJ, Darren, Jonathan, My Book is Lit, Nathan T, Nev's Book Channel, Ron Reich, Russell, Ryan L, Anna, Andra, Angelo, Ben, Blair, Brock, Evan, Jen B, Harry B, Jamie, Jeff Pixler, Maria, Michael Sugarman, Sky, TW57, Wacky, and Zion.